Recently, I have been reading the philosopher Alfred North Whitehead, and he makes a very unusual claim. Whitehead suggests that what we usually call substances do not really exist. At first, that sounds absurd. After all, if substances do not exist, then what possibly could exist? Whitehead's answer is simple but radical: process. Everything, he argues, is fundamentally process. What is real are not static things, but events. Naturally, an objection arises. Surely something must undergo these processes. Are there not substances that endure through time while change happens to them? Whitehead would say no. What we perceive as enduring substances are really just patterns that persist for a while from our limited point of view. Consider how fruit rots or iron rusts. We understand that these things slowly change and decay. But the same principle applies on a far larger scale. Stars eventually burn out. Galaxies themselves evolve and disperse. Nothing possesses a permanent, unchanging substance. But perhaps matter itself endures. Perhaps atoms provide the stable building blocks of reality. Yet modern physics complicates that idea as well. Atoms are composed of subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, and electrons. Those particles, in turn, are composed of quarks and other entities. And at deeper levels, matter itself is better understood as forms of energy. So perhaps energy is the fundamental substance. But here again, the idea becomes slippery. Energy is not really a thing in the ordinary sense. It is better described as a relationship between physical systems. And now we arrive at something very strange. Objects are made of matter. Matter is made of energy, and energy itself describes relationships. So the universe begins to look like a network of relationships between relationships, all of them continuously changing through time. Nothing in this network is ever perfectly static. From this perspective, substance does not undergo process. Rather, process is primary, and what we call substances are simply temporary patterns generated by ongoing processes. And this idea may extend far beyond physics. Civilizations change, cultures change, even individuals change. The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus expressed this idea beautifully when he said that no person ever steps into the same river twice, because on the second attempt, the river has changed, and the person has changed as well. Of course, change is often slow. Sometimes it moves so gradually that we barely notice it. That slowness allows human beings to enjoy a comforting illusion of permanence. But if Whitehead and Heraclitus are right, reality is not a collection of enduring substances. It is a continuous unfolding of processes. And what we call stable things, atoms, stars, civilizations, even ourselves, are simply temporary patterns within that ongoing flow. Perhaps this is why the old saying to go with the flow contains a certain wisdom. So long as we remember that we are not merely swept along by events, but also help steer the currents that carry us.